Providence Television International, the game changer, taking you to the outer limits of television.
A renowned professor of medicine and child health, Charles Eregie, KSM, has called on professors across Nigerian universities to live up to the standards of their calling through engagement in rigorous research. The call was made during an inaugural lecture delivered by him to mark his retirement after lecturing at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, Benin City, and the University of Benin. Professor Eregie recalled that the lecture dwelt on changes he had advocated in the inaugural lecture system and other issues affecting meaningful professorship in Nigerian universities.
I meant that valedictory lecture should be changed because it's more apposite, it's more accurate, it's more precise in an academic ecosystem. Everybody up until now has been advertised to deliver valedictory lecture, including mine that was advertised at the 24th valedictory lecture, but I kept that to myself and I said I will not deliver valedictory lecture, I will deliver the exaugural lecture. So juxtaposing, the lecture was advertised, 24th valedictory lecture, but I bothered to convince through tensional dialectics, that's argument, that this is the first exaugural lecture of the University of Benin. But I moved away from some other things. What I said was in 2009, 17 years ago, 17, another of my angel numbers, I delivered the inaugural lecture where I ventilated realities, totality, that I'm a pediatrician, neonatology, breastfeeding, medicine, all that was done. But what I wanted to do today was to valorize the vocation of professorate. Professorate, a collegium of professors, office or state of being a professor. So it is not complementary what is going on in academia with professors. So my prayer today to the system is to ensure that we uplift and valorize the vocation of professorate. Every professor must rise up to justify their professorship, and that means people are getting to professorship. It's difficult, but they become professors, but they do not elevate and valorize the professorship. And the way to valorize your professorship, at least start with, because etymologically, prophetery is the word for which professors is formed etymologically, and that means public speaking. If a professor does not step forth to speak publicly, then he's not a professor. Yes, and they're not only speaking publicly, you speak parrhesiastically, paresia, speaking boldly, truth to power. So you must talk. So as I told them today, not only did I step forth to now speak to exaugural, I also spoke truth to power. I ventilated the number of things that they have to take home and ruminate over.
At a reception to mark the inaugural reception ceremony of Professor Eregie, the chairman of the occasion, Professor Dominic Osagai, Medical Director, Modik Medical Center, extolled the impeccable character of Professor Eregie, emphasizing that his dedication to the development of pediatrics in Nigeria is legendary.
Permit me first and foremost to sincerely thank all our distinguished guests for honoring this invitation. Your presence here today is a clear testimony to the high esteem in which Professor Eregie is held by colleagues, former students, friends, and admirers across Nigeria. Retirement is a universal experience, but not every retirement is celebrated in this manner. A valedictory lecture followed by a reception of this nature is reserved for individuals whose professional journey has left indelible footprints on their institutions, their profession, and society. Such occasions remind us that the true measure of an academic career is not merely the number of years served, but the lives touched, the minds nurtured, knowledge created, and institutions strengthened. Professor Charles Eregie belongs to this category. For over 3 decades of dedicated service at the University of Benin, he devoted himself to the noble calling of teaching, patient care, research, and mentorship. As a professor of child and neonatology, he has contributed immensely to improving child health through clinical excellence, while simultaneously producing generations of medical doctors and pediatric specialists who today serve in teaching hospitals, universities, and healthcare institutions throughout Nigeria and beyond. Its influence extends far beyond lecture theatres and hospital wards. It is reflected in the countless consultants, specialists, academics, and healthcare leaders who proudly acknowledge him as their teacher, examiner, supervisor, mentor, or professional role model. Few achievements in academic medicine are greater than producing people who themselves become leaders. Indeed, one of the greatest legacies any teacher can leave behind is not simply books published or articles public or positions occupied, but people whose lives have been transformed. Looking around this hall today, we see that living legacy. We see former students who have become professors, consultants, and heads of departments and leaders of institutions across Nigeria.
A cross-section of dignitaries present at the occasion also commended Professor Eregie on his compassionate nature and dedication to the improvement of medical sciences in the country.
Those numerous neonates that you took care of, that today are in different aspects, different places all over the world, on behalf of those children, the University of Teaching Hospital is telling you, thank you, sir, for all that you have done, and also for the training of our residents. Many of them are here, some are not here, and they have all come to also show your appreciation organizing this occasion. I remember especially that something that we will continue to remember in the University of Benin Teaching Hospital is the Eregie chart, a chart that is used for the assessment of gestational age. That chart that you constructed with the late Dr. Mogo today is still being used not just in GBTH but all over the world.
Sir Eregie, as I call him, is a man who is highly cerebral, very, very detailed. Also, is a man that walks the talk. What is worth doing is worth doing well. And that is whatever he's convinced about, he gives it all the attention and makes it a success. Today we are celebrating a man intellectually robust and religiously very, very, very strong. He's a man that managed to be academically sound and also religiously very organized. Is very, 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 is a virtue that is not common. We are happy celebrating Prof today for all he has done, both to the church, to society, to the academia. As you can see, a lot of people here today, people he has mentored all over the world. They are elsewhere, and today we wish him the best moving forward after his retirement.
I have known him to be a very principled man, and he has good friends. I'm telling you, we've known for almost 40-something years. I have known him to be kind, honest, very principled, and a religious man. My dear brother, I say congratulations.
Highly spiritual operation level 2. Continuous friendship and conviviality amongst men and women of goodwill level 3. Ladies and gentlemen, for the pioneer, example and lecturer level hip hip hip. We're also praying that your years of return will not fail. Your grace will be unlimited. At 80, 90, 100, your faculties will still be intact.
We are gathered here today, family, friends, colleagues, mentees, doctors, students, clergy and well-wishers to celebrate a distinguished career spanning many years of selfless service to the University of Benin, the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, and to the countless families whose lives have been touched by his hands and his heart. Professor Eregie's journey has been one of remarkable impact as a professor of child health and neonatology, a consultant pediatrician, a teacher and mentor to generations of doctors, and a devoted servant of both his profession and his faith. Today is not just about marking a retirement, it is about celebrating a legacy, one built on knowledge freely shared, life saved, and character that has left an indelible mark on all who have crossed his path. So Professor Eregie, sir, today belongs to you. It is our way, however small, of saying thank you from your mentees, your colleagues, and your friends.
I wish to congratulate Professor Charles Osayande Eregie, KSM, on his well-deserved retirement. Happy retirement to a brilliant mind and a dear friend. Thank you for your years of wisdom and commitment to healing the most vulnerable and imparting education on the young in the medical profession. I met Professor Charles Eregie in 1983 on my return from the United States of America. I was doing my youth service at UBTH, and I met with him, and we became friends with our friend Musa Iyama. But we are wishing you success, wishing you good luck, and more good years to come. Amen.
Guests were thrilled as the celebrant displayed his love for music with beautiful dance steps during a music entertainment session with friends, associates, and family. Earlier, a minute silence was observed in honor of late Dr. Mrs. Eregie, Professor Erigie's wife, who passed on a few years ago. High point of the ceremony was the cutting of the sent-forth cake and presentation of gifts from Professor Erigie's family, friends, and well-wishers. Ugbebo Ikekwa, Providence Television International News.